Hello. Hello, Liz Tillemans in the house. Hey, just you and me, Kelly Guest, today for the Great Northern Sex Cast. Long time no chat, Liz. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, we've got crew members scattered to the wind this week.
That's right.
Where's Colleen? She's like up in the north. Up in the North Shore doing something
with the boyfriend.
Yeah, that's very cool. She posted some neat pictures. So we hope she and her honey are having a good time. You know, there's been a lot going on. Tell me about Crypticon quick, because I know that that's coming up.
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay,
Yep.
Where are we with that?
Oh, we're coming along. There's phallic-shaped tombstones all over the warehouse right now. So.
Fantastic. Is that a new ad for this year?
Well, this year our theme is a graveyard. The year resurrection cemetery.
Nicely done. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys are teaming up with the Minnesota AIDS Project.
Yep.
Those guys are so busy with what they've got going on. They're coming in November.
Oh, cool.
To talk to us. So.
Yeah, every year we do a prize wheel. And, you know, we're like, sometimes the stuff for the prize wheel just isn't that good. And we were like, oh, it'd be nice if we could like spend money on the prize wheel stuff. And then we were like, well, why don't we charge? And then we were like, well, why don't we if we charge, let's have the profits go to some charity, you know? So this year we spent money on prizes, got really good prizes donated. So the prize wheel itself is awesome. And then hopefully we'll make some money for the Minnesota AIDS Project.
That's great. They're really nice people. And someone that I know just took a job there. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a little kid, when I was not a kid, when I was a teenager, I'd go to Dance Terry on Sundays at First Ave. Mm-hmm. And there was always somebody walking around with a briefcase of condoms and flavored lubricant. And he'd just like open the briefcase and we'd all go running and, you know, take our stuff and leave.
That's great.
And I always remember that. I doubt he does it now.
Was that somebody from the Minnesota AIDS Project? Yeah, it was. Okay.
I mean, it was part of their outreach, you know, to get, you know, condoms into the hands of people that have sex. And at the time, you know, you didn't get it from school. You know,
yeah,
they didn't. Now I think like your nurse's office in high school have like a bowl.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of everywhere.
And I don't remember. You know, birth control wasn't as prevalent. You know, it wasn't quite so like
easy to get. You mean?
Yeah, like just parents weren't. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's like your kid turns 14. Get some birth control. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who argue about that, and we've got some sex ed stuff coming up here in the show. But since we just mentioned Crypticon, I had to tell you about this Wonder Woman story that I found today.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it said, this is a blog piece on it, and they're saying, well, guess what? You know, Greg Rucka's current run on the DC comic Wonder Woman. Yep, she's bisexual.
Well, she does come from the land of Amazons,
yeah.
Yeah, we watched, not like last year, we watched the first episode of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You know, because we're trying to introduce the kid to, and I loved Wonder Woman, watched it as a kid, but I did not remember any of that. You know, that she came from this like land of women and...
Yeah, and at the time it was completely lost on us because back in the 70s, or when was that the 70s when it was out? It's like we weren't thinking along those lines and nothing was as mainstream as it is now. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of, and I bet you Linda Carter probably didn't even, you know, really give much of a nod to it.
It was an excellent episode because they're all walking around in their like, you know, their gauze outfits.
Yeah, well, and she is so pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still crazy beautiful.
It's amazing though how big she is. Like I was like, wow, Wonder Woman today would probably be so tiny, but she was like a good sized woman. She was tall and she was, you know, had thick legs. You know, she was not a stick.
No, but she was a supermodel. So there's
it was like the difference between body types of the 70s and body types of today is so crazy.
You know, in some ways, you know, I agree and I disagree with you, Liz, because I think too, now it's like people overall were smaller. Like people are getting taller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
people in general, but Hollywood, no.
Yeah, I suppose. But I don't know. I mean, because I look back at some of the people, especially the men, And there's still a great contingent of tiny men that are movie stars. Robert Redford, love you to death. And he came to mind.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Yeah. Well, I don't love him anymore.
Yeah, but he's
a freak.
Pretty small.
Oh, he's a teeny guy. Yeah. So, which must be why he has such a big church. But anyway, no, but I just want to tell you that this guy, Greg Rucka, he was, just saying that, when you think about, Amazon, they don't look at another Amazon and say you're gay or not gay. They're just, the concept doesn't exist there. They just do what they do.
Yeah.
So there's this fun blog piece, and I'll get all this to
you have a world of no men. I mean, I can't imagine.
What else are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to have to find some fun somewhere.
I mean, isn't the only men they bring in for like procreation and, they're like slaves and captured and then they send them on their way?
I mean, think so. I haven't watched the series in so long. Speaking of series, were you one of the ones that was so opposed to Orange is the New Black, or did you like it?
I watched a season of it.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay, there's another one that the people who turned me on to Orange is the New Black told me to start watching, Wentworth. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Oh, good Lord. It's Netflix, and it's out of Australia. It's like Orange is the New Black to the 10th.
Oh.
Not as funny. It doesn't have the campy
more
humor.
dark.
Very much more dark.
Oh, I probably like it more then.
And you know what you got to do? This was the greatest recommendation that my friends gave me, was to turn on the subtitles, because even though they're speaking English, oh my God.
Yeah.
Those accents are super, super thick.
Yeah. You ever watch Deadwood, the old Showtime show?
No. Was it good?
Oh, excellent. But they talked in the language is so crazy because it was a lot of like period like language that we would watch it with subtitles all the time.
Did you really?
Otherwise I was like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes it just works much better.
Awesome. Well, my brother of all people, who's 59 years old and kind of an he's always been kind of a sci-fi guy. I guess I remember he's like 11 years older than me, but we used to watch Star Trek together when I was a little kid and eat those god awful pink Hostess snowballs. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And drank Coke with it. I mean, peel you off the ceiling much.
Right.
But he said he was just watching a show called Jessica Jones.
That's on Netflix too.
Yeah. He said it's about a superhero whose powers aren't too outrageous to be believed, and she has a drinking problem.
Yeah.
I've got to check this out. Yeah. Sounds like my kind of hero. So anyway, So just a couple little TV notes to get started. So Crypticon around the corner. Wonder Woman is bisexual. And let's talk a little bit about Sonia Braga for a minute. Are you familiar with the Brazilian actress? She did the Milagro Beanfield Miracle, and she was with Robert Redford for many years. She did a run on Sex and the City as Samantha's gay lover.
And I watched Sex and the City. Why can't I remember?
Yeah, remember when Samantha was a lesbian for a season?
No.
Oh my God, how could you forget that? That was like a major chunk. Well, Sonia Braga played her mother, her lover rather, not her mother. And it's funny because she's very much what you would think the Brazilian boom baladi star, just super oozy, sensual. Yeah. And she's in a new movie called Aquarius. And I guess critically, it's pretty good. But one of the things that I was reading in the review is it talks about she's a woman of her years who is still very much owning it. She's got to be
in her, 60s, 70s?
I would think she's got to be closer to 70.
Yeah.
Based on, and she looks amazing. But it's about how she's still owning and oozing sexuality in this movie. But of course, that topic came up in the interviews with her.
Like old people being sexy?
Well, just her sexual role in movies and the fact that sexuality...
she's still, like, she hasn't taken the matronly role yet.
Right. Well, right. And so she said, I always get asked, what about that sex scene? And she's like, I've been sexual my whole life, but she said the only time I did play a sex scene on a horse running away, and that was hard because that's not in my regular repertoire. And I'm like, you know what, Sonia?
Sex
me neither.
On a horse running away.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous.
I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that idea. So anyway, Sonia Braga.
Don't you want to know what movie that was in?
Yes, I'm sure we could Google it.
Some 70s exploitation or something.
Some Brazilian version of a spaghetti Western.
Yes,
I don't know.
I bet it was.
I'm not sure. But so she's got a new movie. I love watching her as an actress. So I would be very curious to see that.
I just like it that women are finally, men have been sexual heartthrobs till their 60s, 70s for years. And it's just nice that women are also doing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
That they're maintaining their sexuality and their appeal to the mass to the mass audience. So that's really nice.
Yeah. I mean, I really dislike the concept or the word cougar and the term as it's, I find it offensive. And I when I got divorced, my marriage ended right as I was just before I was 43. And he was like, "Oh, you're a cougar." And I'm like, you know what? That just bugged me.
Yeah.
It just really bugged me. I'm not fine with it. Call me prude. I don't care. Have you ever watched that show, Dirty Jobs?
Yes.
Okay. Mike Rowe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Do you know much about him? Like, he's got this crazy background.
He's kind of a right wing, isn't he?
Well, I mean, he's an opera singer, though.
Oh,
Bet you didn't know
I
that.
believe with that voice, I believe it.
Yeah, he's a trained opera singer. Well, this is just a freaking hilarious story. He was in bed in his San Francisco home and he heard this weird, like a bumblebee on steroids kind of noise. So he gets out of bed and he sleeps starkers, which fine. So most of us do. He found out it was a drone that came hovering over his home.
Yeah, they do make a loud, it sounds like 100 bees.
Yeah. Yeah, and so just right in his window with the camera pointed straight at him, there he was. So what does he do? He grabs a shotgun. A 12 gauge, okay?
That's awesome.
From under his bed, and he ran down to the deck, still, flopping in the wind, so to speak. And he said he pumped a shell into the chamber. And he said, but then I had a clear shot. And then all of a sudden, I just thought, this is going to end up in the local news or played a million times of me shooting this drone.
Yeah.
So he said, I got out my phone, I snapped a photograph of it, and I have no idea. And he goes, I know that this footage of me is out there somewhere. And so I want
with a shotgun.
Naked with shotgun. He goes, and I want to get in front of the story and say, yep, that was me. And here it is. But I mean, that's kind of a bummer.
That's kind of crazy that you think about it. Like before paparazzi just had those long telephoto lenses.
Yeah.
And now they can put, they can do drones and get over like privacy fences. And you almost feel bad for, almost for famous people. I mean, at least before their home was like the one place that they were private and they could be themselves. And now even that.
I think that legislation needs to catch up with that shit.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I mean, I do understand the cost of fame. They're getting paid a ton of money and that's reality. And people have a thirst for gossip and all that stuff. But
Liz, if somebody was somehow rappelling onto his window and that close physically with a camera, they would be trespassing.
Yeah,
so how is it not trespassing?
I agree.
So I don't know.
I mean, I think the same thing with a telephoto lens, Like if you can't film somebody on a private property.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if they're on the street and stuff, but I'm glad no one's trying to peek into my windows.
Yeah, I mean,
not that I walk around naked, but sometimes I leave my clothes in the basement because that's where the washer and dryer is, and
you get dressed down there.
Yeah,
I do
Run
that
down
too.
Naked.
And technically, if my neighbors were standing in just the right place, they could see me. But no, I know what you're talking about. I do the same thing, and I do it at my sister's house too because the laundry room. When I was staying there so often when my mom was passing away, there's something about. I do want a drone though.
My kid does.
Does he have one?
No. He'd crash it. They're expensive.
Okay. I want one so bad. We want one of the ones with the cameras and with the capability because at our lake place, we've got friends that are around. We want to be able to like fly over, and drop off little notes that say happy hour, ?
Right. That'd be funny. We were at, the Guthrie and they have that overlook, and we went up there, we were just checking it out and some guy was filming a music video with a drone. So they were like, hey, can you wait for us to finish? And we're like, oh, cool. So we just stood inside and watched him do the music video. So they had the drone and the guy with the drone was like on the ground, and then he was up on that overlook, right? Doing his music video thing. And it was really cool.
That's amazing. What they can do with those GoPros and the drones. And
I know.
It's just like, I mean, can you imagine?
It's just some guy with an iPhone camera and he's shooting a music video and it probably looks super professional when he was done,
Oh, yeah, especially with editing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
It is. And I mean, doesn't it crack you up when you think about the evolution of the sex tape? Think about when home video cameras when they were full-size VCR tapes and how big and the extent and the angle and you're going to park that sucker and you're not going to move around anywhere.
Oh yeah.
And oh my God.
There used to actually be an amateur porn like category.
Right? Oh yeah.
because it literally was people filming themselves. But now there's just no difference between somebody filming themselves and professionals. So there just really isn't.
Isn't that weird?
Because, like, there's all sorts of people that do webcams. I mean, that's technically amateur. So it's, like, no longer a category.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. No, I mean, it's cool, but it's amazing, you know? This poor bastard. I don't think you were here when we did this story the first time. This was from last spring. This poor guy, this Australian construction worker, has gotten bitten on his dick twice using a porta potty on the construction site where he's working. Twice. And almost in the same spot. Now, you would think he'd adopt a slightly different technique for using the bathroom after he had to.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like out of work, for a while.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And he said, he couldn't believe it happened again. And the legs came out from around the rim. It's a redback spider, and they are a cousin of black widows.
Spider bite.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I thought it was a bee bite. I was like,
no.
Oh.
Ew, no.
Ooh,
Spider.
That's worse.
Can you imagine an EpiPen? Oh, no. I wouldn't want that. But anyway, pretty much in the same spot as the last one. And the chances.
Do you think he's sitting down to pee?
Yeah.
It must.
Or going,
Yeah, he's
to do
going number 2.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, they said, what do you think it is about, he got on one of the radio shows, and I would ask the same thing. What do you think it is about your penis that makes it so attractive and delicious to spiders? And he's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just unlucky. And I guess the second one, hurt more than the first, which absolutely makes sense.
Do you think he's really long or something?
I don't know. It could be. And he says he's been dubbed the unluckiest man in Australia. And he's terrified to go to the bathroom at work. They need like an OSHA warning out there.
Oh, Australia. I'm telling you, you ever watch those like world's deadliest animals? Top 10 are all in Australia. You know, the platypus has poisoned barbs on its feet.
Really?
Yeah. And they hurt.
They look so dorky, those things.
I know. And they're like extremely poisonous.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No, me neither. I was like, the platypus?
I know, because they look like the geek of the animal kingdom, don't they?
Yeah, they totally
Not as hip as a beaver.
Yeah.
They got the goofy smile.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
And,
don't touch them.
Okay. And definitely don't let them walk on you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's one thing to get burglarized. That has got to be a really horrible feeling. But what if you come home and you catch them in your house, but they're not just stealing your stuff, they're fucking on your couch? Yeah. This poor woman in Tennessee, Memphis area.
How would you like feel comfortable enough when you're burglarizing somebody's house that...
They kind of moved in for a couple days. She was gone for like a long weekend.
Okay.
And then they just probably, I don't know, didn't think she was going to be home yet. And she walked in on them. They ransacked her house and all of that. And one of the perps tried to grab one of her own dresses. So imagine one of your own articles of clothing being used to cover the naked body of somebody who's been raping your house for days. Ew. I know, right? And so,
burn it all.
They caught the woman. The guy got away. She's being held.
Oh, she's not ratting, huh?
Apparently not yet. But here's what's interesting. She's trying to do a GoFundMe account, the victim. She says she's lost about $2,500 worth of stuff. And so far she's raised $65, which
$65?
Yeah. I mean,
She has insurance.
I hope so. I hope she does. But you know what? If I was going to give to a GoFundMe, that is something, in addition that I would say, you know what? I'm sorry, because you never get your stuff back. And if you do, it's not, I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes I think those GoFundMes
are fake.
Yeah. Well, there should first off be a way you can, tell.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like ridiculous what people are asking for.
Well, there's that. But then what's really funny is the guys like Colleen was talking about last week. There's one guy that put up a GoFundMe site, I think, or it was one of those. He wanted to make potato salad. And he raised like $3,000. So it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, what
did you see the one with the 80-some-year-old ice cream like vendor in Chicago?
No.
Like some guy saw him pushing his cart all bent over, and ended up. I think he got like $800,000 for this guy so he could retire.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, sometimes it's just, amazing, but.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. That's some serious good juju in storage for that guy. Britton, near Manchester. Again, cameras are everywhere, people. Like, seriously. There was tram marches, but right by what they call a city center. So 2 people in public having sex with a baby who was awake in a stroller right next to him. Just going at it, right?
And the kid finally fell asleep, and they were like, "Yeah, we've been interrupted way too many times."
But
right?
the kid was awake, actually, and of course, concerned people. I guess it's completely surrounded by apartments because if you look, and we'll have the story up on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page. If you look, it's very obvious that people are looking. So somebody was filming, and there's all these quotes.
How were they? Was he like sitting on a bench and she was sitting on top of him, or
no? It looked like standing up and one bent over. Her bent over.
I can totally see the you're pretending to sit in somebody's lap, or you're like trying to, but. They're exhibitionists, obviously.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, this one woman quoted, and there are several concerned citizens who really want the baby picked up by child welfare.
Well, that's not. I mean, come on.
And but they said these people need shaming because I'm definitely concerned about the child. But they do get some strange sex stories out of Britain.
Yeah,
they really do.
Lots of panty stuff.
Oh, yeah. They love that. So let's go to the Safe Sex Poem, also from the UK. Now, they've got a new Home Secretary there, Amber Rudd. You may have seen her in the news. She is, she's kind of younger. She's kind of one of those people that caught the public eye because she's sort of maybe as far as, hipsters in Britain can go, or politicians in Britain can go, she's kind of a hipster. But 2 years ago, before she became a Tory, she won a sex health poetry competition. Who thinks to stage one of those? I guess would be my first question.
Well, they're trying to engage the young people,
Yeah. And so it was a clinic. And so she came up with this, the title is so gross. It's called Loving You Is So Exciting, but she did win, and she got 50 pounds for it that was donated to this clinic.
Loving you.
That song is so bad. Shall we read it?
Yeah.
Darling, let us spend the night. Sashay past St. Mary's Castle, home to bed, dim the light. I'll move your world throughout the night. Oh, honeyed words are most enticing. Loving you is so exciting. But why, dear heart, did you not mention what we'll do for contraception? Don't you worry, we'll be fine. Take a risk just this time. Tonight's for pleasure. Take a chance. Think of now and our romance. Oh, darling, you are less appealing. What you say is so revealing. If risk is in your mood and speech, how about bingo then on the beach? She won.
Oh, man. You got to wonder how bad the other ones were.
That's pretty bad. So, and speaking of the UK, because there's been a lot of stories out there, and they're engaging in a lot of studies over there about the effect of pornography. It's like all of a sudden, we're seeing the focus on it there. I mean, it's been ranted and raved about here to the point where we have talked about many times. We believe it's affecting sex education in schools, because people are, the severe, opponents of this are saying, well, you're trying to do porn in schools. Yeah. And the other ones are saying you're driving kids to porn because you won't tell them anything about what's really going on. But this was kind of an interesting one. They were saying that they're seeing a lot of children as young as 8 engaging in seeking pornography online. And they're saying that they're finding more and more of them this is in Britain again, primary school children are learning about sex through exposure to porn. They said it's they believe it's responsible for widespread sexual harassment and some kids becoming addicts, and that they're recommending that the schools ramp up what they are referring to as age-appropriate lessons. And so, yeah, I mean,
it's just frightening. I mean, I have a 6-year-old. I can't even imagine.
2 years.
2 years. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
it's easy, doable. As soon as he knows how to Google. I mean, luckily he can't read or write. But as soon as that happens...
That's next year, hun.
I know.
He will next year.
How easy is it?
Well, I guess
you should see him maneuver YouTube.
Yeah.
And he can't read or write.
Yeah. I know they're coming. Yeah, they're getting quicker and quicker at figuring this stuff out. I guess my question to you would be, you are very knowledgeable, open, and more matter of fact about more things than I think I've ever seen anybody else be. So my big burning question to you is, what are you going to do about that, Liz, when next year, when you know that the skill set's going to improve? Yeah.
I mean, we talk about sex since he was a little, always. So he knows what all the stuff, he knows how babies are made. I never hesitate to answer questions for him. Luckily he's not very sexual. He wants to marry me. That's his idea of a future. Of course, now there's some future mommy that he refers to, but you just have to deal with it as it comes. I, of course, will have to make sure that, my tablet and all that has like controls on it when that comes the time.
Yeah.
But it's friends. That's for me, the most frightening influence is stuff he'll pick up at school.
Well, okay. But see, I guess what I'm getting at is that you don't necessarily think that porn is a bad thing. Obviously you do when it comes to an 8-year-old.
Anyone young, I think pre-sex, I think porn is bad.
Okay.
I really do. I don't think anyone can understand that porn is not sex. Porn is like a visual interpretation of sex, and sex you have with somebody is not porn.
Okay.
You're not going to have a porn scene.
Okay.
It's not like that. So I think in order to understand that porn isn't real, you should have sex first.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're going into this assuming that like every girl is just ready and waiting for you to, pull your pants down so they can,
okay,
lick you. Just whatever. I think it's just it's too much. Obviously porn is 18 plus for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's such an interesting sort of thing that you stumbled on there, because that's a really interesting point. It's like, I'd love you to like think about this a little bit and come back and because wait to start looking at the visual interpretation of sex until you've got some experience with it. So leading up to that though, what would you, in your very wide world view of all of this stuff, what would you tell your kid as he's getting toward that age? What are the things that you are going to tell him?
Well, I definitely will tell him that masturbation is great, and that when you do meet somebody you like, you don't have to have sex. There's so many other things, and really it's just communication. You need to talk to them about what you want to do before you do it. You can't just go into it and not speak about it, because it's so awkward when you're new to all of that. But I would think mostly I'm mostly concerned about making sure that he has a relationship, whatever that may be, with whoever he's having sex with. I don't necessarily care if he's having a long-term relationship, but I want him to make sure that he cares about who he's having sex with, and they're not just like a body.
Yeah.
Because he can do that for himself.
Yeah. Interesting. So, are you going to be like working up your talking points over the next couple of years on this stuff?
Yeah. You think about it all the time, especially with porn. That whole thing frightens me a little. That I remember being 12 and watching, on cable, they had those porn channels.
Yeah.
Right. But it was all like scrambled. All you could do was listen.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
Unless you paid for it. So that was what I remember. And that was it. I don't even remember when I first saw an actual porn. I was probably at a college party, and it was just like on TV or something.
Somebody had it going in the background.
Yeah. But I'm a girl. We don't really look at like nude magazines either. That's not really something.
That's such a guy thing.
But for women, I was a reader. I was reading, romance novels. So, for a girl, that's usually what we do, and then of course
bodice rippers.
Yeah, and then it just fantasize and stuff. So, except for I've met many men that read bodice rippers.
Really?
Oh yeah,
No kidding.
Tons, especially probably working where I work.
Okay.
Other.
Okay. Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Just like I go to a store and I meet somebody and they've got like, oh, you read that? Oh, I love that book. Have you read it? And then you just start talking and it's so funny. And you're like, wow, you're reading this stuff too?
If you're going to meet a guy that's into that, it might be at a Fantasy Gifts. That's true. Well, you'll like this one, Liz. There's an online sex ed for kids that's apparently very age appropriate, very classy. It's put together by it's a joint effort, I guess, from Advocates for Youth, Answer, and Youth Tech Health, and their web videos aimed at kids ages 10 to 14 to help them understand the changes their bodies are going through. And they talk about sexual orientation, gender identity, friendships, and relationships. And this is being described and widely lauded as inclusive sex ed, and very, very different than what they describe sex education as being largely negative, sexist, and out of touch, which I think a lot of people would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't give any labels at home. I always talk about the person you're going to fall in love with, the person, I don't assume, that anything's going to happen one way or another.
Yeah.
But the one thing I've taken some like how to teach your kids about sex, and they did say that they're only going to comprehend what's age appropriate. Mm-hmm. So even if you go over there, you go into more detail, they're just going to glaze over. So it's not really anything to worry about.
For sure.
But I think visual is just completely different because anyone can understand.
Yeah.
When you see something versus when you're talking about it.
Well, I did too mean to put you on the spot. I just thought it was so interesting when, because you're so open about other things and it's like, okay, that bothers you. And it's like, it was fun to kind of have you walk through what you might do at that time.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think about it all the time. I mean, I don't think any parent with a young kid isn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool not to.
Yeah.
Because
it's out there. But
and do you want to put your kid in a world where they don't have the skills required to navigate the internet? What if he's at school and some other kid pulls like his smartphone out and shows him some porn?
Yeah.
I have to give him tools to know what to do in that situation.
Right.
But
see, I still think, because at the end of the day, people are still people. And I'd say, there's a fair number of people out there that just don't want to face up to that reality as a parent. Sure. And they're not going to deal with it, which is sad because then the kid has experiences that are exactly probably what you would want them to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a weird sort of circuitous thing.
Yeah.
Psychology Today. And I thought this was kind of interesting. I'm not saying that, I think where it was published is almost as surprising to me as what they're talking about. They are actually, saying that, therapists marketing themselves as sex positives, are not necessarily doing the public a service. And, Psychology Today ran an article talking about how, these sex positive therapists could be missing sex addictions, pornography addictions, and not uncovering those real problems in people, instead just saying
because they're sex positive.
Yeah. And so this is like a kind of a criticism of the industry itself by the industry. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
By assuming that all sex is good sex, you're like ignoring it when it's not.
Yeah, they're saying that they're dismissing the notions that there can be problems, that they're not looking into it. So they're just saying, be sure that you do your research and you make sure with regard to that.
Do they just not cover those, like sex as a topic when they're sex positive?
No, I mean they absolutely.
Or they just
do.
don't want to judge.
Yeah, it's a totally different lens look of through which they do the therapy, and Psychology Today article, which we've got the link to, talks about.
I would think if somebody is on a self-destructive path, that no matter, that would come out. Wouldn't you notice? Like, do you ever watch Rescue Me?
No.
Did you ever watch that?
No, but it looks interesting.
Oh, it was great. But he had a definite sex problem, and he basically constantly over and over and over again ruined his life because of sex.
Really?
Because of who he was having sex with, where, just constantly, and it was like obvious to me. It was like, yeah, he was an alcoholic, but I was like, he also is a sex addict.
Yeah.
Because he's I mean, ruined his life on more than once.
Really?
I mean, not just once,
Yeah.
And it's like, I would think if you were his therapist, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's an interesting take on, because we've had sex positive therapists here. We've had one, and then there's another one that I'm trying to get in the queue for this month, actually, another local person who this fellow that I'm trying to get, I'm not going to say his name till we've got him booked, but he deals a lot more too with transgender issues and how you can deal with society and educating society, not just transgender, but LGBTQ and all of that. The other gal that we had in here, super cool, the sex therapist, she was just a normal therapist that also has a separate set of business cards that she puts out there that says, hey, if you need to go here, if this is what your problem really is, I will too.
Right.
And she didn't, want to mix the two cards.
Yeah,
she wanted people to
sense.
understand. It was kind of interesting. And that's how we got her on the show, is she dropped one off for you guys. Huh. So, and she was really great. Really, really, really cool. So, really quick before we get into the shopping list, I need you to help me make a shopping list, because there's the 5, or I don't know how many of them there are, but the hottest sex games you can play right now. And, all of the tools are at Fantasy Gifts. I'm sure. So, but the one other thing that alarmed the hell out of me, and this was published in the Journal of Neuroscience. And I don't know what to make of this, Liz. So let's break this down. According to this particular study, sexual activity may desensitize individuals to the effects of certain drugs. So, i.e., make you more tolerant. So, how everybody's afraid of the superbug with regard to the overuse of antibiotics. They're saying sex overall.
Too much sex. Is that the endorphins released?
It says, it doesn't say why. It says it could also, though, if they get an increased, if they have so much sex and they are that type of person that does get the increased tolerance, it also could raise their risk of addiction, because they need more of any substance to get the same effect, be that a buzz.
It's got to be the endorphins.
Yeah.
Because that's how people are addicted to their phones, right? You get a text message and it increases your endorphin. And so then it's like a hit. And sex is the same kind of way, you know? So it totally must be that.
Yeah, you got to read the whole article, because it just like so many things.
So too much sex really is bad.
Well, but
how much is too much?
Good question. And they, it doesn't say, but it does say though that abstaining, protracted abstinence, be that out of choice or lack of willing partners, can also cause your tolerance to drop the other way.
Yeah.
So then things over affect you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they come up with the one specific laser point thing that they're going to do a study on. And you know how hard this stuff is to do? It's not a small deal.
Studies?
Any study.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money. And to get it published and everything else. And still, how many of them do you read that you go, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but some of those studies, it's not for us. It's for other people. They're doing other studies and it helps them, it's all kind of interconnected. So some scientists out there will read it and go, oh.
Yeah.
Let's incorporate this in part of this and,
It is a dopamine relationship, because they did this study on rats.
Dopamine, that's it.
Yeah, that's the one that you were looking at. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting article. Check it out. They're just saying, one addiction. I mean, that's really not news. That one addiction, if you're addicted to one thing, you're prone to being addicted in other things.
Well, you have an addictive personality too.
Well, yeah.
I mean, period, right?
I know, but I'm just starting to wonder if that isn't the same. To me, like all of a sudden, everybody is ADHD. Like, couldn't you make a case for everybody being ADD in some form?
We probably all have too much sugar.
But it's same thing with addictive personality.
Yeah.
I just think that some of this has been pushed so far that it just doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't know. That's just me.
I mean, you can be addicted to something, but until it starts ruining your life, that's the problem.
Candy Crush Saga.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my husband got a phone, and for 2.5 months, it was like.
What was he playing?
Oh, no, it was all Facebook.
Oh,
just conversations, whatever. But I was like, can you just put it down once? I would hope that we would go camping and he wouldn't have cell service, but always had cell service.
The one thing, that's funny. My boyfriend is really conflicted when it comes to technology. He really does miss the day when you had a landline at home, and if you weren't home, you weren't home. The fact that somebody can reach you all the time. I mean, he laments that.
Yeah.
And then I will occasionally see him surfing the net on his iPhone. but
I know, but like it's nice to go on vacation and no one, I mean, that's why you go abroad because, I'm sorry, I can't afford that European data plan. So my phone will just be off,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to not be available, but yeah, I mean, you still want to be connected to the world, just not, available.
Right.
I think there's a difference.
Well, and I think that the implication that, I called you, I sent you a text. Well, that doesn't mean that I either could or wanted to talk to you right then and there.
Yeah.
It's disconcerting.
Yeah.
So, this, I don't know. The article is okay. I just thought this was pretty funny. Pretty tame, but, a little twist on some things that we all accidentally bumble into doing. So there's a couple sex games. One's called the wine spritzer. So you're going to have to, as I'm going through the instructions, you're going to tell me what to buy at Fantasy Gifts to get this, okay?
All right.
Because this is a shopping list for the listeners. Okay. The wine spritzer. Put on preferably a white t-shirt.
Okay.
Put partner in front of you. Fill a spray bottle with an alcoholic beverage of your choice. Mm-hmm. Spray chest. It could be girl or guy. Let other one watch, offer taste, and then turn action on. So you're going to spray yourself down with alcohol on your chest. And like if it's the girl, you're going to let them,
lick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the other way. And then, you're supposed to
Hopefully you don't use like fabric softener in your shirts.
Well, I'm thinking you can peel the fabric back because some of it theoretically.
Those Unstoppables.
Yeah.
Somebody at my work had used those and they smelled the entire place. Like one of those little Unstoppables like didn't get rinsed out or something.
Oh, good God.
But like they just like the entire building smelled. Like everywhere they went, they just left this like cloud
trail of
It was the funniest thing. It was like somebody like plugged in like 20 Glade plugins. Like it was crazy smell.
And you couldn't get it. That's oh my God, we've had a fabric softener incident. Call the hazmat team.
Right?
Holy crap.
I don't know about that one. I don't know if I would play the wine spritzer. First off, a lot of alcoholic beverages have sugar, and that just sounds like sticky mess.
Okay.
I can see like body shots. Mm-hmm. I mean, that to me seems sexier, than like just misting somebody with alcohol.
It was a new take, Liz.
Yeah.
We're checking it out. But no, body shots are good. I've done a body shot before. Actually did it on live air. That was fun. I was actually doing it from the belly button of one of my co-hosts, which was awkward because we were both married. But, it was one of those kind of deals.
Still on the radio.
I made him laugh because he's so ticklish. That was the most fun part was him.
Yes, that would be fun.
That was fun. Okay, the slippery slide. This takes me back to the slip and slides of the lawns, only this one's going to be on your bed, so I'm thinking you might need some sport sheets.
No, you'd have to get the Nuru. It comes with these plastic sheets. Because sport sheets are not water. They're like fat. I mean, I guess that maybe they're waterproof on one side, but the whole idea is you can Velcro to them.
Okay. Because, this...
but the Nuru kits have plastic sheets in them.
Well, anything I think is going to be an upgrade to what's suggested in the article, which is a tarp, which I'm thinking would chafe.
Cheap. It would be cheap, at least.
But it would be bright. I don't want that on my.
Or just get some plastic painters,
that would be
like just some 3 mil plastic, whatever. The problem is like you got to watch the floor if it drips off the bed. So it depends how big your bed is.
So you're supposed to cover with whatever of choice.
Okay.
Pour essential oil on the tarp.
Okay, we have that.
Take a hot shower, and then don't dry off. Go onto the tarp and use the oils and caress. And then once you're all oiled up, take it onto the bed and slide around.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. You want to be careful with that, though, because essential oils and all that, you don't necessarily want those in the vagina.
Okay.
So if the penis gets covered in them, you have to then wash. So I might do like a silicone lubricant instead.
Okay.
Because then that you can,
What would happen with the oils and the...
Well, vaginas are very sensitive. We have that pH balance, and you can give yourself a yeast infection or a vaginitis, or you just don't want anything that's not designed to go in.
Okay.
If you can't, it's like, I think if you can eat it, maybe, but I would just be very careful, especially if you're prone to
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. No, actually, that's a really good point, Liz. Thank you. I didn't, but they don't give the caveat. See, that's why you're here.
You could also get that Nuru kit, and that comes with.
Oh,
it's like a whole kit: plastic sheets and massaged oil.
That's safe.
Yes.
Okay. Nuru. How do you spell that?
I think it's Nuru.
Okay.
By wet.
By wet. Okay. Well, if
don't
you just
quote me.
if you ask for Nuru at the store, you can look it up on the fantasygifts.com partner site, and it'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be on the MN site for sure.
Okay, perfect. Truth or dare, and they're talking about
always fun.
Yeah, so like they give some samples of 5 truths or 5 dares. This is amusing. This one's so like tame for this group, but would you be open to the idea of anal sex? Next question.
So you'd want your lube.
Yeah. Would you be comfortable with sharing your partner with another person?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think this one's a good one. How many sexual partners have you previously had?
No.
Are you comfortable with touching yourself? That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Have you ever faked an orgasm while you were intimate with me?
Oh,
that's a mood killer.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
sexy.
No, I don't think so either.
I think if you get your dares all worked out, like to me, that seems more like work your dares out before, like write them on a piece of paper.
I think you should work that. Based on those, I'd work out my truths. I wouldn't want to accidentally throw that one out there and have it go horribly wrong. Would you?
No. I mean, that's the problem with that. And then you're doing this with a group?
No, it's just you and your.
Oh, so okay. I thought that whole partner swapping was like on the spot. I was like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, no. But here they came up with some sample dares. I dare you to strip in front of me. That's good. I dare you to make yourself orgasm and let me watch.
Okay.
I dare you to have sex with me in a public space. Okay, don't do it in front of a bunch of apartment buildings in England with a baby in a carriage next to you.
And remember, elevators are usually filmed.
Oh, yeah. I dare you to give me a rim job.
Okay. I mean, we all showered right before.
I wish you could have seen her face. I dare you allow me to take you from behind.
I mean, the problem with truth or dare is like if you don't do the truth, then you have to do the dare. But if you don't want to do the dare either, I mean, you can't force anyone into, you know.
I mean, in theory, I guess it's fine, but I just see a lot of opportunities for relationships to come up and all sorts of things that end up being not sexy.
No.
So I don't know.
Chances are you're drinking. I would say forget the truth because that's, I mean, whatever. Do that when you're having dinner and just talking, right? Mm-hmm. And then just do a bunch of dares that are mutually agreeable and then throw them in. Like, or just have the pass option on the dare and then pick another one because the dares seem more fun anyways.
For sure. Well, this one I like. Naked Twister.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
Naked Twister looks like a riot. And
we don't sell the Twister game.
Okay, but that's easy. You can go to Walmart for that.
Yeah.
But here's what
do they have one with plastic sheets?
Unclear. Well, they all are kind of, but they do talk about using oils or lube to get oiled up before you do this, which would make
your feet though, not your feet.
But see, at a certain point, the whole thing is going to become hazardous. Yeah. Because if somebody falls down, now the oil's on the blue dot, and you get the blue dot. Now all of a sudden we have to call 911.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
But Naked Twister does sound fun. Maybe not with lubricant.
Maybe not.
Just Naked Twister.
Well, they did say to set the mood, put some candles out there. Again, don't set the Twister on fire. That's another thing. But I mean, I thought that sounded, pretty good. But
yeah,
it's just funny when you go. I mean, there's stories that pop up. We talk about a lot of just things with regard to nudity and sex that pop up in regular news stories. And like last week, we talked about a real estate agent that got arrested for having sex in a house that she had just sold.
Oh, yeah, some celebratory.
I got my
big money coming in.
Yeah, and she got arrested. It didn't say what the outcome.
Is that
of
really that bad? I mean,
yes, and here's why. Because think about this. It's funny and it cracked me up at the time. But I used to be a real estate agent and I work with a bunch of people in that industry. Now it's awful enough to have to. Have you ever sold a house? Have you ever had your?
No, just bought one.
Okay. So think about if your home's on the market, you got to do all this stuff and, you got to be able to get out of the way because you never want to be there when buyers.
No.
Do you want to think that the agent or somebody that you don't know is coming in there and fucking in your house when you're not home? I mean, doesn't that freak you out a little bit?
Here's the question though. Was this an occupied home?
No, it wasn't.
She could have been selling I just think about that American Beauty movie.
Yeah.
The mom, she's a real estate agent, and she goes into the house to clean. She like takes off all her clothes, and then cleans the house. I just think of like this real estate agent's probably like been half living in this house trying to sell it anyways, and if it's empty.
Okay. Well, yes, and it's amusing from this standpoint, but it's such a, you get completely stripped of your license for this.
Oh, I believe it. I'm not saying it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. But yeah, so, but those stories pop up in the regular news, and then there's, just the funny stuff and whatever, but it makes me laugh, the different places. Like, you've got the beauty magazines, you've got Men's Health, you've got, some of the technical journals like Psychology Today or, whatever. And what appears in those is almost more interesting to me because it's the tone that they take in the audience that they are trying to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you read anything mainstream media and what credence, if any, do you put to anything that they may publish on this topic?
No, usually I get all my news from Facebook or NPR these days. So, if a sex stuff comes up on Facebook, I'll usually read it. Like, the San Francisco Globe will always put up. And then there's this, I fucking love science. They put up really good stuff, especially like animal stuff. And, so I usually read all that stuff because I find it fascinating.
Yep.
But
yeah.
I don't really anything else. No, I don't know if I would read the whatever, because personally, I don't really care what scientists say is like normal sexual behavior, because I don't know if you could ever say what normal sexual behavior is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's something I feel like I can use for work, I usually read it, but.
Yeah. It's just amazing the broad spectrum of the news that's out there. And we just like to stay on top of it, as well as with people that are involved, be it from, a psychology, therapy. We like to talk to people like at the Minnesota AIDS Project. And we have just a range. We have people that are into the, recreational aspect of it. We talk to Perry LaPree all the time with Camp Hardwood, and they're going to start streaming our show on their website.
Have you heard that the latest thing with the girl's life and boy's life?
No.
There was like a girl's life cover, and like it was all like, oh, how to wake up beautiful, and what's the best outfit for you, and how to have your hair. And then the boy's life cover was like, how to make a bottle rocket, and how to be, the best scientist, and how to, it's like all this, and like this, I think it was a local graphic designer made her own girl's life cover and photoshopped it and changed it, and like was just bringing to light the difference between like what's expected from girls and what's expected from boys. And even lately I saw something, and this girl was at like a Walmart, but it wasn't. And she was showing the girls' t-shirts that said, oh, I'm so beautiful, and all that. And then the boy stuff was like, think outside the box, be a hero.
Oh, wow.
And it's like the difference between that and like that kind of thing, like really fascinates me. That whole like women are just what we look like, and men are what they are on the inside.
Yeah. I think it's changed a lot in recent years, though.
Well, I think people are trying.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes when you watch TV shows, and it's like, once again, this like dopey dude and his super hot wife.
Yeah.
It's like that whole stereotype. You don't see that in real life.
Not as much. Not as much. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point, but we tackle it all. And so next week, I know we've got guests coming in. It's just a matter of who's, the Tuesday.
Fun.
Yep. We've got, all sorts of Perry LaPree will be back at some point here pretty soon. Our unnamed, GLBTQ specialist, therapist will be on tap, the Minnesota AIDS Project, and then some of the other characters that we see on a regular basis will be cycling back through. Liz, thanks for coming in.
And then we'll have stories from Crypticon.
Yeah, what exact date is Crypticon, and where can people find you to come spin that prize wheel?
14th and 15th, Friday and Saturday.
Okay, so it's right around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
At the Crown Plaza,
Okay.
which is off of 494 and 34th.
Okay, so is that the old Thunderbird?
No, that's gone.
Gone.
They're taking it down right now.
Okay.
No, it's way east. Like it's the last hotel east.
Okay.
In that strip
there
of hotels. So like right behind it is like the National Wildlife Refuge.
Oh,
and
sure.
The Mississippi River.
Yep.
You know?
So let me just ask.
We're on the 12th floor.
So does somebody have to have tickets for the whole event to get in? How does this work?
If you want to go to the vendor rooms and check out all the speakers and all that stuff, you need to get a badge.
Okay.
But I believe last year, I know, they sold a ticket for the dance. It was like $10 because my husband just came at like 7 to watch the costume contest and the dance and stuff, and that was like $10 for Saturday night.
Okay.
And then all the rooms are free, but tips are, I would say, required because these people spend a ton of money on their rooms.
Okay.
And they're providing, usually some sort of beverage.
Okay.
Some will have like food. Like, I feel like one of them had tacos last year.
Okay.
But it's fun.
And how much do the badges run? Do you know, Liz?
No, maybe 60 for the weekend.
Okay.
And they might have like a day only.
Okay. Okay. So not bad.
No.
Okay. So look for Fantasy Gifts at Crypticon,
I
and
think we're in room 1226. Don't quote me.
Okay.
Megan told me, and then I
well, we'll make sure we put it up on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page, along with links to everything that we talked about today. Liz, thank you, and we'll see you next time you cycle through, my dear.